and then she runs after him. They were actors. What am I saying? Hi guys, so we're just talking about my Korean boyfriend. I initially did reactions, and then I think episode 3 I was like, nah, there's no need for it. This is not that type of show, it's not that kind of party, so let's just move on with our lives. But I really did want to talk about it because I know a lot of people are watching this, and I didn't know how many of you guys were watching it here. But yeah, let's just get into it. So basically this show, it's a Netflix original. It follows 5 women in different stages of relationships, long distance relationships, from Brazil to Korea. So they kind of set it up like this, Korean crush, Korean fairy tale, K-drama, fantasy, where you're going to come from somewhere far and then meet this love of your life. He happens to be Korean and you're living this Korean K-drama fantasy. It's just what they were trying to sell us, the fantasy. Initially I was like, oh my God, yeah, I think that's actually solid. The idea is solid. I'm not going to take that away from them. The idea is actually really solid. It's something that, will appeal to a lot of people right now because K-drama is really blowing up. K-pop, the whole Korean fantasy is actually blowing up right now. And the fact that, just like when Pretty Woman found a millionaire, maybe some people can find their Korean kings, that same mindset. I don't know why that kept coming to my head. But we meet these 5 women, right? Luani, Kati, Morena, Mari, and what's the last one? And Camilla. We meet all of them. Right off the gate, I think it was Mari who was trying to call her Korean boo, and he wasn't even picking from the airport. She called him, I think, basically all day that day, just the way they edited it. And for me, I was like, man, initial red flag, but we move. These women were stunning. They had varying levels of, beauty, and it just depends on how you qualify beauty. But to me, they were all stunning. My favorite right off the bat was Morena. I'm a sucker for height, you guys know. You're tall, I'm there. I'm a sucker for height. So Morena stood out to me the most. I also like the whole pink number that she was wearing. She looked absolutely gorgeous. They book a house for them. They stay for the duration of the trip. I believe maybe they were in town for like a week. I'm not really sure. And then we start to meet the men. We meet Luani's. I'm going to be classifying the men by the women, guys. I can't be bothered. I don't remember the names. It took me a lot to even remember the names of the women in the first place. But obviously, there'll be notes, there'll be pictures. You have all of that. First red flag we meet was Luani's guy. What was his name? I can't be bothered. Instantly, the alarms were ringing as soon as he opened his mouth. First of all, they're kissing and hugging and everything when they first meet. I believe they had been communicating for a long time. It wasn't just a recent thing. I believe it was over a year. They've been going back and forth communicating. So they know each other very well. So, the kissing, all that, it's fine. The only reason I brought it up is because of Korean culture. And we know that that's not really something that is done so widely and openly. PDAs is just, it is what it is. They sit down and then they start to unravel this man like an onion. And each layer was stinkier than the layer before. It was crisp. The drama was crisp, guys. But it was stinky and it brought tears to my eyes. Every layer they unpeeled with this guy. First of all, he had financial issues. He said he'd made bad investments. My entire family was screaming, Gambler! We don't know. He called them bad investments. I was like, okay. Second of all, we find out that she borrowed money from her friends in order to come here because he couldn't pay her fee. Third, we find out that he told his family that he paid for her trip here. Basically saying, don't out me, they think I'm providing for you and all of that, Now, this was just the surface, guys. Like I said, the onion was crisp, deeper it got. It was juicy and sweet. Because just from the interactions alone, you're already shouting, 419. When Nigerian people know what that is. One chance. While screaming that this boy, liability. Get out. Ero. The way he interacts, the manipulation, psychological twists and turns, the flipping of the tables. At first, you're feeling like, oh my God, Luani, get out. Leave. It ain't gonna be. And then Luani starts to peel her onion. I'm like, abandon the show. It was when she made a statement. I think she said something. Oh, what did she say? I'll go and find. Oh, something about liking men who make her suffer.
Eu gosto de quem me faz sofrer.
Tamo vendo.
No. That's when I checked out, guys. My brain left the building because I knew this was about to be a show that I was not down for. And that's when I was like, you know what, Luani, whatever you get, it's your business. In fact, that was when it flipped for me. Habu, it was not the problem anymore. Luani was the problem. Luani. I'm saying her name like she's Nigerian, y'all. Next, Mari. Let's talk Mari. Mari eventually gets a hold of her guy. I think his name was David. Don't know, don't care. Anywho, I'm sitting here like, okay, how come you didn't pick up the phone? You knew she was coming. Why wouldn't you pick her up from the airport? I'm pretty sure you guys have talked about this before. Can't remember how long these people were talking. Like I said, my brain left the building within the first 20 minutes. And the time that she met Habu was, I think, at the end of the episode. So he said something about he was busy with his dad all day, and so he could not respond. There was just something off about the guy. To me, do I think that he likes her? Yes, 100%. The way he was looking at her was giving, I like you, maybe this could work. But there was also something missing for me with her guy. Don't know what to tell you guys. Anywho, it looked like everything was going well, but they had this running monologue throughout the show where the women were, monologuing the scenes and everything that, like, it was really produced, guys. Produced with a capital P. Produced. So during a lot of her interactions with Habu, she would say things like, why are we holding hands? Does he not find me attractive? And by the end of the series, you realize that within these two, they could work. However, cultural clash. And what I mean by that is that she refused to grasp that Korean culture, PDA, popoing, you don't just go around popoing people. I'm sorry. It was hilarious. We had a fun time laughing at that with my family. But in Korea, you don't just go around popoing people. And what I mean by that is kissing, guys. She's Brazilian, so they go mwah, mwah, double kiss. Latina women are fiery, spicy, passionate. We know this. We love this. I don't go to the Brazilian shows because I want peace. So that was the thing. Both of them would not let go of the fact that their cultures are different and try and meet in the middle. Because by the end, she was saying, does he really care for me? He wouldn't even kiss me on the Han Bridge and Han River Bridge. And it's like, this is the Han River. It's a public place. Like, this is not something that they do so easily. It's not something that they just flip a switch or consider doing without, appropriate measures being in place. Like, if she's not your girlfriend, you can't really hold her hand. Stuff like that. So they just both weren't understanding each other. And I didn't really think that it would work. But I would say that the way they looked at each other, there was love there. And he actually did, he definitely did look at her like he liked her by the end. Like, he was always down to do whatever, That was the interesting thing about him. He was just always down to do whatever. Next, we're moving on to Morena. And just like the way she carried herself, she got elegance. Like, all the women carried themselves elegantly, for the most part, until we started diving into their drama. Actually, Maria and Morena were my favorite. They just presented, I just liked it, especially for what they were bringing to the show. Morena was way far gone in her own relationship, and I think her guy's name was Suwon. So she and him, they'd met, I think, in Korea when she came on vacation or something like that, and they've been dating long distance. To be honest, by episode 3, I was like, this whole show was designed around Morena and Suwon because they were the only ones who truly had like a beginning to the end. Their whole arc was the fact that he was going to propose, which he did on the show, but that they hadn't had his mother's approval to leave. So he was going to relocate to Brazil. She's not coming to live in Korea. He's going to live in Brazil with her. So there was all of that. So that was the storyline for them. And my family was thinking like, will they get? I was like, no, They have already gotten the mother's permission. All this is just for the drama. This is just for the show. There was no way, considering how they hyped it up. I didn't think that Soo-won will be the type to propose to her without getting his mother's basically blessing, you know. So I figured that the entire show was designed around these people, and I loved it. At least we got to see some kind of love. Their story was very beautiful. The arc was done well. Morena seemed like she really understood Korean culture and did her best, you know, to respect it, which is what I love. Like, I don't care if you have your own preconceived notions, and I'm not saying anything about anybody on the show. Everybody was pretty much fine for what they brought to the show, you know. I'm not saying, like, if you know you're going to another person's country, respect the traditions there. Don't go and enforce your own traditions from your own country in another person's country. It's just something that I've always said, you know. So I really appreciated Morena. Morena was my favorite person. I like the way I just liked everything. The way she carried herself, to her relationship, to the dresses that she tried on, even though those were not her final dresses. She looked stunning. Camila was the fourth one. Camila was the interesting one because Camila didn't come to find love. She had been, she had moved from born in South Korea, moved to Brazil when she was 3 with her dad and the rest of her family, and never saw her mom again. Doesn't know what her mom looks like. Didn't grow up around culture. She understands and speaks Korean. I think she speaks a little Korean, not a lot, because it seems like it was dipping and bobbing there. But again, I was watching dubbed, so I wouldn't know. Anywho, so she was coming back to kind of reacquaint herself with her roots and all that kind. So she was in a very different stage of her life, you know, and I don't really think that she resolved anything on the show, if I'm being honest. I think it helped because she did seem a little lighter by the end of the show. At the beginning, she was very closed off, you know, just like, no touchy. People who know where that's from. And but by the end, she did seem a little lighter. They did make her go on a couple dates. I say make her because I don't think she wanted to. I don't even know. Maybe it was just a requirement for her to be on the show. Maybe she has a boo in Brazil. We don't know. But they did make her go on a few dates. The first, they went to the club to try and get her, you know, a guy she was talking to. She could not be bothered. And then later on, she went on a date, and that guy we saw a couple more times. He was there till the end. So it seemed like things were turning up for her, but nothing came out of that relationship. Her own stage was life fulfillment and reacquainting herself with her culture anyway, so there was really no romance to be had there. And then we have Katie. Katie was a very interesting one. Katie had been talking to this guy. What was his name? It doesn't matter. He was barely there. You know, classic Korean standard for, you know, male beauty and all that kind of stuff. Tall, chiseled, looked like he had a respectable job. He was very clean cut. As soon as they met each other, you could see that they didn't like each other. They started talking and it was like pulling teeth. So obviously she loses hope with that. Goes back home, starts to cry, you know. Has another date with him, and they decide that they are going to be ponions. If you guys know, you know that they friends on each other. Typically, is what it was. There was just no connection. There was nothing in common. There was no chemistry. There was not even there was no physics. The only thing they had going for them was geography, guys, because they were in the same location at the same time. There was nothing between these people. So she goes on Korean Tinder or, you know, Christian Mingle, whatever it was, and swipes a bit here and there, and finds this other guy who looked like he was gearing up to be a K-pop artist. His style was fine. I liked it. She wanted something light and breezy. She had literally explained to this new guy that she met that in Brazil, what she'd been in were just a bunch of situationships, and she was here to have fun. And I can respect that. My cousin was so mad because he thought that she was throwing away opportunities to be with somebody that was good and cool, you know, the first guy that she met. And I was like, yeah, that's you. But that's not the stage of life that she's in. So, you know, let the girl have her fun. I thought she was fine. She came here for a good time, you know, to experience the culture, to meet some good people, have fun, maybe get into a situationship. And that's exactly what she got. I can't be bothered by the girl. It's not that big a deal, guys. All in all, to be honest, it was fine. Will I watch? I finished Badly in Love, and you know, knowing what to expect from Badly in Love right now, I may choose to watch Badly in Love over my Korean boyfriend. Yeah. I didn't like Badly in Love the first go around, but because I'm editing it now for YouTube, and I already know what to expect, it's actually a little more fun. I'm a little more loose, and I'm enjoying it a little more the way my husband enjoyed the entire series. This one, was fine. I was convinced, guys, convinced that Luani and Shiwon, is that his name? Whatever. Scam Artist 101 were actors. There is no freaking way. They're actors. They are actors. There's no way. There's no way, guys. I was convinced, purely acting. Because why? Why? There's this one scene where they pretend to break up. I don't know for whose benefit. And then she runs after him. They were actors. What am I saying? I don't know why it's funny. If you're into drama with a mix of K-drama, this will be perfect for you. Just go and don't expecting too much. I think you'll be fine, to be honest. It was entertaining for what it was. You just have to shut your brain down and just in and out. Everything they say in and out. There's no need to process anything. All right, guys, let me know if you guys like the style of talking about shows, because it's not everything that we're going to be reacting to. I really do like reacting to tried and true shows. I get suckered into some of the new ones, the way I did for Exchange season 4, and Duna is a woman to me. However, Exchange was dropped. Duna is perfect. I love that show. I will not be continuing reactions on here because it's not doing as well. So make sure you check Patreon for those. But I'll rather just watch these new shows like this and maybe do reviews. I don't know. It depends, to be honest. It's as the spirit leads. That's the way I'm doing 2026. So, but let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this, and maybe we'll see you in other ones. Yeah. Toodles.